Belgium to fight with radical Islamist groups in the Middle East.
Dr. Evan Lawrence is a visiting lecturer in terrorism and security at Staffordshire University and is with us now. Good morning.
Good morning.
Many people are going to be quite surprised that Belgium was attacked or was potentially the victim of an attack. Tell us what's happening there that's perhaps building tension, or perhaps why it shouldn't be a surprise to us.
Well, I think part of the problem that we're seeing in countries like Belgium and France and here in the UK as well is that you've got a very divided society where the Muslim community is being treated to hard-line policies by a government who isn't really taking into consideration what's going on with the youth in the area and in the regions. So that you're finding a very big divide between what is considered normal behavior within the Islamic community and then a very small subsect who would be like any other society who has teenagers and young people. Some of those people are going to find difficulties. And I think you're seeing that now more acutely in the Muslim community because of ISIS and because of the policies that we're seeing with the governments.
We wait to find out the detail of what intelligence the Belgian authorities had about this individual cell, if it is that. But do you think that what happened in Paris has changed the way that authorities throughout Europe are looking at those cells, who presumably they've got some information on, but this question mark of when you move in on people? Do you think there's been a radical change in that?
I don't think so. I think we're seeing a fairly consistent, across the board use of surveillance and security of individuals suspected of radicalization and things like that. What I think the difference with the Belgian attack is if it does turn out to be true, that this will be the first time that ISIS has conducted an attack outside of the Middle East.
There is also an issue of how authorities treat, punish those who have left the country to go to countries where they perhaps can be working with Al-Qaeda or IS and then returning. What are your views on that?
Well, I think that what we're seeing right now in Europe as a whole is a very hardline policy on either if you go out, when you come back, you're either put in prison or you're put under surveillance.
And if you're considered to be having taken part in terrorist activity, surely that's a reasonable reaction.
Well, the discussion then goes to what is a terrorist activity. A lot of these people aren't actually doing anything illegal. Going out and getting training isn't illegal. But coming back, as long as they haven't actually done anything illegal, they're still put under those same kind of processes, where you don't have any kind of support or de-radicalization process brought into that, which you see some of the Scandinavian countries have started doing a more comprehensive program where they're put in contact with community members, community groups, mosques, schools, things like that, and it's taken from a holistic perspective of the individual. And they seem to have some success with that so far.
Well, that's an interesting area, isn't it? But do they feel freer? I think you're talking about Denmark particularly, aren't you? Do they feel freer to have that approach because they have yet to have an incident like Paris happen on their soil? Does that does their population effectively mean they're more comfortable with the idea of being softer on those people?
I'm not so sure that it's because they haven't had an attack yet. I think it's a general idea of penal policy and the ability to rehabilitate offenders that Denmark takes a unique perspective on, that it's considered more of a rehabilitation issue than it is a criminal issue. And so de-radicalizing someone, even if they haven't gone out yet, is made a priority in their society. And whether that's Islamic radicalization or any other type of radicalization, whether it be racial groups or gangs, things like that, they're all included in this kind of process, which seems to be quite effective.
Dr. Evan Lawrence, thank you very much for your time this morning. Thank you.
Thank you.